Welcome to the Possibility Action Network podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Middleton, aka Possibility Man. We're committed to bringing you guests who strive to better people's lives and serve as a force for good in the world. Our guest today is Christopher Terzakos. Christopher is an entrepreneur and self healing coach. He's also the author of 3 books and is a living example of transformation. Although he was an athlete, in his early years, he noticed a decline in his vigor as he aged. Chris did 2 things that changed his life. He changed his relationship with himself and he increased his testosterone naturally. His
Right.
transformation serves as a beacon of hope, inspiring other men to believe in their own possibility for change. Christopher, welcome to the show today.
Great, great. Thank you for having me. Great introduction, too. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh. Look, I'm looking forward to our conversation about advancing men's health. But first, this announcement to our listeners and our viewers. Follow, like, and share this podcast wherever you find it. Your support matters and is appreciated. Hey, Christopher, as I understand it, back in the day, you were a pretty good athlete. What did you do?
Yeah, I was a elite baseball player. I played on several traveling teams. I played
Uh-huh.
on the high school varsity team, and I was scouted by 2 professional baseball teams.
Uh-huh. What position did you play?
I played various positions. I was a second baseman. I was a shortstop, and I was a relief pitcher because I had a
That's
good arm.
that's pretty good. I mean,
Yeah,
shortstop and second base. Wow, that's great. And relief pitcher. Uh-huh. So, were you also a baseball coach?
yeah. I coached one of the leagues that I used to play for. The president of the league, he wanted to not that he wanted to. He called me. He said he wanted to talk to me. So I went to talk to him. His name is Bobby, and he said, uh, "We have to do away with the senior division. The senior division are the ages from 17 to 20. Now, 17 to 20 is a dangerous time in your life because you can get caught up with some wrong people, with the drugs and the alcohol. So I knew that when he talked to me, he said, we have to do away with it. They didn't have the money, they didn't have a coach. So I said, how much money do you need? He told me what he needed. I said, okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to go to my car. I'm going to write you a check. I said, now what? He said, I need a coach. I said, I'll coach the team. And that's what I did. I went
Uh-huh.
out and I recruited players. I got the kids off the street. That was my main objective, to get the kids off the street. I didn't realize, though, I was going to win 3 championships in a row. I didn't realize that.
Uh-huh. 3 in a row. That's pretty good. So,
Yeah,
you played the sport,
yeah,
baseball.
I
You
did.
coached the sport. Which of those 2 things touch you the most, player or the coach?
I like the coaching better.
Uh-huh.
I
Well,
like the
why is
coach.
that? Yeah.
I don't know. Just I felt like I was part of something. I thought I coached them. I know that I kept them off the streets. I made them professional today. They're all those kids that I coached. I know they're all professionals today. Some went into the blue collar world. Some went to the white collar world, and a few of them went to the United States Army and the Marines.
So, would it be true to say then that as a player, it was about you, and as a coach, it was about them?
Yes.
Or yeah, okay, okay, all
Yeah.
right, all right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but okay. Now you've done quite a few other things that I just want to touch on just briefly.
Sure.
As
Of
I
course.
understand it, not only were you a jock, but you were also a construction worker at one point in your life. What was that
Yeah.
like?
Yeah. When I realized that I didn't get drafted by the professional teams, I um, I said to my dad, I said, Dad, I want to go to work.
Mm.
And he says, okay. He goes, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. I'm going to go into construction. So that's what I did. I went into
Uh-huh.
construction. I started out as a carpenter. Then a few years later, I got into a union, which I'll talk about. Um, and then I grew from there. I was a leader.
Uh-huh.
I was a leader from a very early age. Even in my teenage age, I didn't follow my friends. My friends followed me. I
Hmm.
didn't. I didn't get into drugs. I didn't get into drinking. I didn't. That wasn't my thing. My thing was fitness. I wanted to always be fit. I wanted to play sports. I wanted to become a professional, but I didn't. But I became a professional in construction.
Uh-huh. That's great. Yeah, that'll build character, that's for sure. I remember those days working in construction. Hey, look, you mentioned that you wanted to go to the pros. What was that feeling like for you? You were playing baseball undoubtedly since you were a young guy. What was
Mhm.
that feeling like desiring to make the majors?
Well, it was playing the game. I was the happiest kid playing the game. I like when you play the game, your focus is on the game and not on your family problems, not on your, problems in school if you're having some issues with school. When you play the game, I was focused 100% on the game. I did not get any distraction or distortion
Uh-huh.
around me. When I didn't play the game, that's when all the issues, they come to you, your thoughts, well, so that's why, yeah, I like playing the game. Kept me busy.
Yeah. Yeah. I could just imagine that you played for many years and you
Mhm.
wanted to go to the pros. What did you feel like when you discovered that you weren't going to make it to the majors?
Uh, Obviously, it was a letdown in my life. I,
Mhm.
I was let down, but I said, okay, um, I didn't make it. The coach Sherman told me that, they spoke about me and that they would be in touch, but they never got in touch.
Uh-huh.
So it is a letdown, but you got to bounce up because life's going to deal you a bunch of challenges, and
That
you got to get back up. You get knocked down, get back up, man. You got to keep going.
that's for sure. So at what point then, because I know you're into, and this is what we're going to talk about today, health and lifestyle,
Hmm.
changes. At what point did you begin to embrace lifestyle change? You're always a health nut, I imagine.
Yeah.
But at what point did that happen for you? Lifestyle changes to improve your health.
Well, one of the lifestyle changes was my best friend got murdered.
Oh
I
my
was 20,
God.
I was 20 years old.
Oh.
So he was my best friend. I mean, like a brother to me.
Mm.
Um, I said to myself, this can't be life. When I seen him in the coffin, I said, life's got to be different than this. This
Mm.
is not life. So that was like a breaking point. I was 20. I said, I, I gotta do something with my life. I don't want to wind up like him, you know.
Mm.
See, he got involved with the wrong people. He got involved with
Mm.
some drugs, and I knew all along. Even when I was 12 years old, I knew because I saw guys in the street. You get
Mm.
involved with drugs or alcohol, you're going two places. Either you're going to prison or they're going to go bury you. So I knew at a very early age that's not the path to do. It's
Mm.
not that. I
Mm.
seen good guys go down. I did with
Yeah.
my own eyes. I seen them go down, and I knew. And yeah, that was the breaking point when my best friend had passed away. He got murdered.
Mhm. So it was it at this point that you embarked upon self-healing, or was it at a later point?
No, there was a couple of other obstacles that triggered it, and I'll tell you about it. Um, After my best friend was murdered, I'm going to say 6 years later, I had another surprise.
Hmm.
I get a phone call that my oldest sister, who was like my second mother, she died.
Mm.
Now, she was a marathon runner. She was healthy. She ran every marathon, California, Boston, New York. She ran it. She died running. She had an aneurysm. So at that point, I was 27. So after we buried my sister, man, I got very angry. Now I switched. Now I'm an angry guy. Got involved with a lot of different things. Like I said, I got involved with unions. Uh, I became, I was a bookmaker. I was taking people's bets. I completely changed. I was always exercising. I was always healthy, but I changed because I was angry. So
Mm.
whatever I can make money on people's weaknesses, that's what I did. Until the day I got caught. Now I'm in and out of courtrooms.
Mm.
So when they sentenced me, they didn't give me jail time. They gave me house arrest,
Mm.
but they gave me a mandatory anger management. That was mandatory. So when I started anger management, I was, rebellion for the first 3 months. I started to rebel.
Mm.
Um, my counselor, or my therapist was African American woman. Her name was Linda. She worked for the United States government. Uh, to this day, I love her to death because she changed my life.
Mm.
I became this angry soul to this kind and loving person that I am since that time of my life.
Mhm.
I think
Okay.
I was
So,
around 34 years old, 35 years old when
uh-huh.
that all that happened.
I want to be clear now. Yeah. So you did something illegal, I suppose, but I'm not clear on what that thing was. Are you at liberty to say that what that was? What did you do?
Yeah, yeah. I was. What I did was it was illegal gambling.
Ah,
So
okay.
people that had a gambling disease, or
Hmm.
people that like to gamble on sport games, they would call me. I was like the bank.
Hmm.
I'm like the casino. You go make a
Gotcha.
bet. That's what I did illegally.
Right.
So you want to bet a football game, you would call me.
Hmm.
Uh, and that's how it worked. Every Friday, I would straighten out with the guests, with the clients. Whether you won, whether you lost, you would see me on Friday, you get paid or you pay me. What happened
Right.
with that was, right, Stephen, when people won, they were there Friday exactly 5 o'clock to meet you to get paid. Now, when they lost, this is where the problem lies. When they lost, they would run, they would hide,
Hmm.
they won't answer their phone.
Hmm.
And then when that happens in this life that I lived, you go chase them.
Hmm.
So what do you do when you chase them? What do you do when you catch them? They have to pay a consequence.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know,
I see.
it was a lot easier if they would just answer the phone and say, "Hey, Chris, I'm a little short this week. Can I pay
Hmm.
you next week?" And I
Right.
would
Okay.
I would say, "Yeah, no problem."
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a story for a movie, but that's we'll leave that alone for now. Well, let me ask you though. You mentioned that your therapist helped you
She
release
did.
your anger.
She
How
did.
did she do that? I mean, how did that happen for you, you think?
Just different workshops, different
Mm.
scenarios. She would, talk about like if you're at a red light and somebody by accident touched the bumper of your back of your car,
Mm.
how are you to react? So we went over like a workshop.
Mm.
Do you get out screaming at the person? Do you
Uh,
get out, and look at your car and then, start, acting out with anger? Absolutely not. You just get out, and you ask her if the person, are you okay? And let them answer you. And
mm.
okay, no worries. Well, you're responsible. You fix the bump. Different workshops that work.
Okay. All right.
You
But just
know,
one last thing on this. So before your work with her, had someone, brushed you the wrong way, would you have just snap and get angry?
yeah.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So she
You
helped you.
couldn't, you couldn't disrespect me,
Uh-huh.
not one bit. Matter of fact,
Hmm.
I have a tattoo on my arm, and it says, "Always show respect, never accept disrespect."
Uh-huh.
And I tattooed
Yeah.
it on my arm. And
Okay.
I would ask you first, wherever we are. I say,
Hmm.
"Excuse me, are you disrespecting me?" And I would give you the opportunity to say either yeah or no. If it was yeah, then I would fly off the handle. If it was no,
Uh-oh.
then I would, say, "Okay, man, no problem. I thought you were
Yeah.
disrespecting
Well,
me."
yeah. Well, look here. I want to, we're going to talk about some things that you've written about, which is going to shed some light on this transformation. I just wanted to get that out so people know that at what point you're telling me that you had an anger problem, someone
Mhm.
brushed you the wrong way, and you'll give them a chance, but you weren't afraid to engage them. But then here you are, a different sort from the kinds of things that are found about you. But firstly, though, before I address that,
Sure.
I saw that you mentioned that you experienced self-healing. Tell us what that first experience was, where you experienced when you healed yourself of something that's pretty significant.
Well, self-healing was when I went through the anger management, because that was a 4-year mandatory sentence to do that. So I was in anger management for 4 years. And then while I was in anger management, we had group. We had one-on-one, me and the lady, Linda. And then once a week we had a group, 10, 15 people in a room.
Mm.
Um, so that was the breaking point of my self-healing. Then, you know, when I was out there working and, here I am as a leader, uh, with a company. Then I opened up my own company, years later. But being a leader, your employees come to you because they trust you, and they come to you for help. And a lot of it is like, I'm not a therapist. You know, they come and talk to me about maybe financial problems or marital problems, problems with their kids, with their mom, their dad. And they come and sit down in the office after a day's work. They come to my office, sit and talk to me. And they, can we close the door? I say, sure, close the door. So here I am acting like a therapist if I can help them. And I
Mm.
always would give them a positive feedback,
Mm.
and I would make positive suggestions. And if I didn't know, how to help them, I would call somebody and say, "Hey, call this person or this woman." And
Yeah.
they're better at it to talk to. We're going to talk to them. And I would call them and say, "Can you help them?"
Mm.
That's what I would do.
I got you. Now, what about physical healing? Did you ever apply this technique of self-healing to something physical?
Well, physical healing, I'm still in the gym. I've been in the gym. I've been exercising for 40 something, 45, 50 years. I'm 65 years old today. I got a body of a
Mm.
30-year-old. I got a six pack. I'm ripped. People see
Mhm.
me. They're like, "You can't be 65, you know?" So,
Uh-huh.
but that's me. See,
Yeah.
I got to tell you, and I told this to my wife, I don't know, like a month ago or 2 months ago, because my wife's also in physical condition too. The happiest time of my life is when I'm in the gym. I got my music in my ears. I'm
Mhm.
in the gym. I don't think
Mhm.
about anything when I'm
Yeah.
exercising. I don't find it to be a burden. I don't find it to be tiresome. I don't find it me. I think the gym. I'm the
Yeah.
happiest person in my life when I'm
Yeah, I
exercising.
can understand that. Hey, look, I'm not trying to disrespect you, but is it fair to say that you were a jock at one point in your life? An athlete, a jock. Is that label okay with you?
No, a jock is someone different. A,
Okay.
the true definition of a jock is a rich kid who goes to a rich college, university.
Mhm.
He's good at his game, whatever he's playing, football, baseball, lacrosse. He's good at his game. He's called a jock.
Okay.
I'm from the
So
street. I'm from the streets. I'm not, you can't be a jock and come from the streets.
Is that right? I was not aware of that. Well, let me roll back. So is it fair to say then that you were a tough athlete and a tough, hard, working construction worker? Is that fair?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Now,
that's
the
correct.
reason I wanted to say that, Christopher, is that you wrote this book and the topic includes self-love.
Yeah,
So now let me ask you from the outset, before we talk about the book, because I want to get into this book with you,
okay.
what pointed you, athlete, construction worker, to someone who is willing to talk about self-love? I just don't, I want to help me see that shift. Because,
Yeah, that,
Christopher, it's not an average topic
yeah,
that athletes talk about, that
mhm,
construction workers talk about, or even men. We don't talk about self-love,
right,
very much often. So what pointed you in this direction?
right. Well, you got to drop the ego first. That's why men don't talk about it because they got an ego. And if you think that you're going to talk about self-love and that's like one of your weaknesses, it's not a weakness. Take
Mm,
it from me. I've been there. I experienced it. I got the wisdom. You got to drop the ego. Now, we all got an ego, but you got to drop it at some point. Just drop the ego, man. If you drop the ego, you'll realize self-love, self-healing, you're compassionate, you'll be a better husband, you better be a better kid to your parents. You just overall become a better person. It's the ego that gets in the way.
mm,
And the ego will take you down. Sooner or later, the ego will take you down. But you just got
mm,
to drop the ego. So in my case, you know, I loved everyone else before me. Here I am. I'm a supervisor. I'm a boss for a big company. I'm the leader. And I used to love everybody. Everybody that worked for us, I loved them. I was a baseball coach. I loved every single one of those kids.
mm,
You know, if I had a girlfriend, I loved her first before me until I realized when I did get in trouble, which we just talked about, nobody was there to help me.
mm,
There was actually one person there to help me. And you know who that was? That was the man that I worked for. His name was Bill.
mm,
I worked for him. He stood by me from the beginning to the end. Everyone else, they all ran off. Then I found out that people that were close to me, they would talk behind my back.
mm,
See? And I loved them. And I forgive them today for talking behind my back. They're not in my life. My
mm,
circle's very small, but I do forgive them. They talked about me when I got in trouble, which they shouldn't have. They said some horrible things about me, but in front of me, they loved me. They act like they loved me.
mm,
They cared about me.
mm.
And that's how I knew, okay, you got to shift. You got to shift your mind because you love these people and nobody offered you not even a hot dog
Mm,
because I had nothing. Everything was stripped away from me. All my money, my cars, everything was taken away from me. I had to start all over.
mm.
And that's where the shift of self-love, and that's why the name of the book is called Belonging to Yourself. Because if you don't
Mhm.
belong to you first, it's not going to work. Nothing's
Okay.
going to work for you.
Okay. So you mentioned the book. So let's get into it now. In this book, you mentioned that at one point you were going through a cycle of emotional pain and suffering. Was it during the time of your legal problems? Can you say more about? Oops. Can you say more about that?
It was when my sister died. That
Okay.
that topped off everything. I know my best friend, I told you earlier, he got murdered, but it was when she died, there was a lot of distraction and turmoil in my life.
Mhm. Okay. Now, the title of this book, so everyone would know if they want to check it out, in a bookstore or online, the primary title is Belonging to Yourself: How Self Love, Wisdom, and simple changes can transform your life. Now, let's go back to your primary title, Chris. Belonging to yourself. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so this is what I mean. I come from a single household. My mother worked two jobs. Um, I always wanted a family.
Mm,
I always wanted to be part of something. So growing up, I was part of a group of friends. In the business, I worked for the company. I was part of the company. I felt like I had a family around me. I always was looking for that family, but I wasn't belonging to myself. I always would love them, do things for them before me. The only thing I did for myself was stay healthy, exercise. Like I said, that kept me happy. But that's why the name of the book is Belonging to Yourself, because I didn't have self love. I
mm,
didn't love myself. I loved everyone else first. You got to
mm,
love yourself first. I'm sorry to say, uh, some people might say, hey, that sounds selfish. It's not selfish. I know, I experienced it. I loved all these people in my life. Where are they today? Where are they?
mhm.
Where were they when I was in trouble? They all scattered. That's what they did. They scattered
Yeah.
like a bunch
Okay.
of like a bunch of mice running all over the place.
Gotcha. But people use that phrase. I hear it all the time. A lot of coaches say self-love. What does that mean to you, and how do you do that for yourself?
Self-love. Self-love is how you self-care, how you take care of you. The
Mm,
things that you eat, the food that you eat, actually, um, how kind you are. You need to be kind to people. That comes from self-love. Yeah, you gotta love yourself. Um, you need to stay healthy in your life. Growing old is a choice.
mm,
Um, you know, and if you can help another person in this world before you say goodbye to the earth,
mm,
help them. Help them. Without looking for anything in return. Just help them. Help them.
mhm. In this book, you mentioned that there is a transformative energy that comes from self-love. Can you tell us what you mean by that? That self-love is transformative.
Yeah, people feed off of that. You
Uh-huh.
know, people would feed off of that. The people that I talk to, um, there are a few people that I coach. They feed off of my energy, and that's
Mm,
how they transform. Because
mm,
when you see how I am as a person, um, you know, people look up to you. You know,
mm,
you don't need to be a tough guy. You don't need to be, a rich, person. All you need to do is give yourself
mm,
without looking for nothing in return. And people
mm,
will understand this and they will transform.
mhm.
It takes time, but it could be done. I did it, so can you.
And that's amazing. What you're advertising in this book is that self-love can actually change a person's life.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, that's interesting.
yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else that you care to share about self-love before I ask you about another book that I find interesting that you've written?
Uh, about self-love. The only thing I could say to the audience, if there's anything that you want to do in your life, if there's a goal that you want to reach or some type of a mission that you want to accomplish, please don't let anyone get in your way. Don't let anyone stop you.
Mm,
This is
yeah.
where the self love comes in. When you self love and people are giving you negative vibes, you got to walk away. You got to go.
Mm,
You got to get away from them. Doesn't mean you could cut them off 100% from your life, but you
mm,
need to put them on the side for now because they're not good vibes. Keep your positive vibes, and
yeah.
do away with the negativity. That's the only
I like
suggestion
it.
I can make.
I like it. Yeah. Self-love, that's a big one. So
Yeah,
often we look for love from somebody else other places, but you're saying, you can give it to yourself. That's interesting. That's reassuring. Now, testosterone after 60 caught my eye. That's how I got connected to you. Now, wait a minute.
Okay.
I thought testosterone declined in age, right? But
Yes.
testosterone after 60,
Yes.
that's a real thing. Tell us about that.
Okay. So every guy at the age of 30, it's even earlier now. My generation, it was probably later, and I'll explain to you why. But every guy in their 30s, their testosterone starts to decrease
That
every year.
early. I wasn't aware that it was as early as 30.
Today, our generation was different because, and let me just explain that why.
Okay.
A lot of things get in the way of of testosterone production, and let's talk about it. Pollution, chemicals, Wi-Fi, microwaves, radiation, plastic bottles, plastic toxins, cell phone on your body, they all will contribute to prevent production of testosterone.
Uh-huh.
Now, my generation, we didn't have microwaves. My generation didn't have this pollution that's out there. Okay? Because there was less people, less cars, less industries. Look at it now. It's booming, the pollution.
Yeah. Yeah, I get your
Chemicals.
point. Yeah, I get your point. You're saying that there are environmental factors
Yes.
that cause us to decline in testosterone production pretty early. Okay.
Right. Right. Now, remember, chemicals. Like, look
Mhm.
all the pesticides. You go to a store. I'm 100% organic. I eat my fruits and vegetables. There's no pesticides.
Mm.
Other people, they go supermarket. Oh, we're going to eat healthy. You're going to get blueberries, get strawberries. But guess what? They're sprayed with pesticides because they're not
Right.
organic. They're not organic. Pesticides also will decrease and stop production of testosterone.
Mm.
Preservatives. We just had a hurricane. I seen all the people on the deli line all getting cold cuts, ham, turkey, whatever, salami. Do you know how much preservatives is in that cold cuts?
Yeah, a
They're
lot.
they're
A lot.
hurting themselves.
Mm.
So, that's why at the age of 30, the testosterone starts to decrease, besides the heavy stress. We have a stress hormone called cortisol. When you're stressed out, guess what? Your cortisol goes up, and now it prevents the testosterone flow through your blood. It stops the flow. So now you got stress, pollution, Wi-Fi, radiation, plastic bottles. I enforce this audience, please. If you're buying bottled water in a plastic,
Mm.
please don't do it.
Mm.
Don't do it. It's toxic. Plastic is toxic.
Wow.
People heat up food in a plastic Tupperware. Wrong.
Yeah.
That's even worse. Now you're heating up the toxins in the plastic that go into the food, and now you're eating the food. And then you wonder why your hormones are unbalanced, whether you're a woman or a man. Your hormones are going to be unbalanced.
Mm.
So, starting with that, what we just talked about is environmental is critical, very critical.
Mhm. Yeah, so you're suggesting then significant lifestyle changes if you want to increase your testosterone
Mhm.
after 30 and especially after 60.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I can share with the audience, foods that they should. I use food to benefit
Mhm.
me. But any food I eat, it benefits me. And there's a reason why I eat it.
Okay.
And most people don't understand it. But
Mm.
I'm going to explain it. To increase testosterone naturally, without injections, TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, which is for the rest of your life.
Mm.
To increase it naturally, I'm going to share with the audience a few things. One, vitamin D. If you can get natural vitamin D in the sun, that's even better. But if you can't, vitamin D. I recommend 5,000 IUs or 10,000 IUs a day, 5 days a week. So
Wow.
this is what I do. The days that are cloudy, I'll take a 10,000 IU vitamin D.
Mm.
The days that where I can get into the sun, I won't take a vitamin supplement, a vitamin D supplement. I won't take it. Now, any supplements that you take, you should always take 2 days off. Never take supplements 7 days a week. Give the body time to flush. So if you're taking, say, magnesium,
Mm-hmm.
take it 5 days a week, 2 days off.
You know, I'm glad you said that because this is the first time, and I do take supplements, but this is the first time I've ever heard someone say, take a couple of days off of
Yeah.
your supplements, even if they're
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah.
So that's new. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, yeah. You give your body a chance because your body understands. Your body knows
Mhm.
what to do, and your body will produce. Whatever supplements you're taking, your body will produce it. But give your body a chance, and you need to give your body time to flush out what's going in the body so you can release it. So it's very important.
Mhm.
So I recommend 5 days on, 2 days off. You could do 3 days, a day off, then 2 days, and then a day off. Any way you want, you could do it. But
Yeah.
generally, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about healthy fats. Now, healthy fats will increase testosterone naturally. Now, let's talk about what they are. Olive oil, big, very big olive oil. Now, with olive oil, you got to be careful. You go to the supermarket, you go, oh, extra virgin olive oil looks good. Wrong. Look at the back of the bottle. If it comes from 5, 6, 7 different countries, put it back on the shelf. True 100% olive oil has to come from one country. Now,
What's that? What's the country?
There's 3 that I buy. I buy either from Greece, Italy, or Morocco.
Oh,
So,
okay.
again, if it comes from 5 countries, you're not buying authentic olive oil. I buy authentic because this is
Greece, Morocco, and France, and Italy.
And Italy. This is what I do, Stefan. I study all this. I'm part of a movement. And my movement is to put the message out there so people can understand. When you go to a supermarket, I go to a supermarket, everything's a lie. Gluten-free, sugar-free, me. Guess what? Wrong. They're not telling you about the other ingredients that are no good for you.
Right.
When they put the labels on everything. You gotta understand. It's a big, big business, that supermarket. I shop at Whole Foods. Whole Foods, 95% of the food is organic. It's all fresh. I don't buy any fish that's toxic. I only buy fish wild caught. So let's talk about the to increase testosterone because
but hold on for 1 second. Let me ask you about this cholesterol. Do you put it on your food? Is that when you cook, or how do you use your, not cholesterol, olive oil? How do you use your olive oil?
Good question. Watch this. I have a glass here. See this glass?
Yes. And for those of you who are listening, he just showed me a glass on video. So
okay. Yeah. I take a glass of water, about 8 to 10 ounces. I put 2 tablespoons of olive oil every day, 5 days a week. I put it in the water and mix it up and I drink it. Because
2 tablespoons. Okay.
2 tablespoons. Olive oil will increase testosterone by 17.4%.
That's huge.
Just by doing the water with the olive oil. It'll go up 17%.
Okay, 8 ounces of water, 2 tablespoons.
2 tablespoons of olive oil.
That comes from Morocco, Greece, or Italy.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, You ask, what do I do with the olive oil? I eat olive oil on salad. Anytime I make my eggs, I use olive oil. I use olive oil on my vegetables. When I make homemade, organic, Italian plum tomato sauce, olive oil is in the sauce. I use olive oil for everything I do. I use olive oil. I don't
Okay,
use, I don't
make sure
have,
that I'm clear. I want to make sure that I'm clear, Chris. What you're
sure,
telling us is that you drink olive oil with water, but you also make it a point to put as much olive oil in your body as you can by putting on certain foods.
correct.
Yeah.
Even when here, yeah, even when I feed my dog's 150 pounds.
Mhm.
He's an Italian Mastiff. He gets olive oil in his food every night when I feed him. I put olive oil in his food.
Okay, Chris. Okay, so let's say that a person says, "Okay, I'm gonna follow Chris on this one," because olive oil is so simple.
Right.
If they start drinking olive oil 5 days a week, start cooking with it, 5 days a week, and then how soon do you think they'll be able to see that something's different is happening in their body? They're taking their supplement 5 days a week, all of that,
4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks.
Four to
What
six
kinds
weeks.
of things do you think a person could notice after making a deliberate effort to consume stuff that boosts testosterone?
Uh, you'll have more energy,
Uh,
your libido. You'll have positive thoughts, not negative thoughts. You'll probably step up your game if you're exercising in the gym. You'll probably
huh,
pick up your game. At the gym, you won't feel, like down or depressed. Those are all the symptoms when your testosterone is low. You
uh-huh.
have no, low libido, you feel depressed. It's pretty dangerous because us guys, we need testosterone. Without
Yeah,
testosterone, we can't survive.
right.
And without testosterone, say goodbye to your bones and say goodbye to your muscle. You
Mhm.
start losing muscle. So I recommend the older you get, put more muscle on. Keep putting more
Yeah,
muscle on. The older you
yeah.
get, because the older you get, you start losing muscle, and you don't want to lose muscle.
You just give us some important tips about testosterone and, of course, building muscles, as you've just said.
Okay.
Are there anything else that a person can do to get their testosterone levels up?
Yeah.
You've given us several already, but are there more?
Yeah. I'm going to share a lot with you. Okay. I said olive oil, avocado, great to increase testosterone. Olive oil, that's a healthy fat to increase your testosterone. Omega-3, if you're taking a supplement, omega-3, great. If you're not taking a supplement, wild caught salmon.
Mhm.
And the reason why I say wild caught, because if you buy farm fed salmon, you're buying toxic fish.
Wow. Yeah.
It's in the farm, they eat in each other's poo,
Yeah.
and you're buying it and you're eating it. It's toxic. So olive oil, avocado, omega-3, egg yolks, really good to increase testosterone. Egg yolks.
Egg yolk. Okay.
Don't be afraid to eat the whole egg. Years ago, there was a big myth. Oh, don't eat the egg, the yolk, because it builds cholesterol. Guess what? If you don't have cholesterol, you'll never have testosterone. So you gotta
Mm.
have it. And cholesterol
Okay.
doesn't kill you. You know what kills you?
What's that?
Inflammation around the
Okay.
heart will kill you.
Okay. All right. Let's pause this for a moment to emphasize a couple of things. With your avocado, do you put it on your food or you just eat it, out of its shell?
No, I eat it. My wife peels it out of the shell. She puts it
Uh-huh.
on a plate. She puts olive oil on top of it, maybe a little
Uh-huh.
like vinegar on top, and we
Mhm.
eat avocado like that. Or she puts it in a salad.
Uh-huh.
Or she makes guacamole. But we
I
have it
got you. I
with,
got you. I got you.
with a little
Yeah,
cracker
it's
on the
it's a
side.
great spread for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. With your eggs, do you boil your egg or do you fry it with olive oil?
both.
Okay.
But my wife will boil like a dozen eggs, so we always have protein in the house. If you're hungry and you don't feel like want a little snack, go grab a couple of hard boiled eggs, and you have a hard boiled egg. Now I make scrambled eggs. I make sunny side up eggs. But I don't make any eggs with butter. I don't. There's no butter in my house. Everything's done with olive oil. Yes, olive oil.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
can we overdo eggs though? I mean,
Yeah.
you said cholesterol, you can't live without it, but can we overdo it?
No, no. You could eat as many eggs as you want.
Uh-huh. That's interesting. Okay. Okay. Any other tips for us, Chris, to boost our testosterone,
Yeah.
especially those of us who are past 60?
All right. There's a couple of supplements that I'll share. Oh, you know what I want to share with you? Organ meat. Organ
Organ
meat.
meat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, organ meat. Organ meat is one of the best foods for men to eat. Now,
Mm,
what is organ meat? Liver, kidneys, heart, bone marrow, and here's one that doesn't sound too good, but I'm going to tell you what it is. An animal's testicles. That is
okay.
that is number one to increase testosterone.
Mountain oysters.
Right. And you mentioned oysters. Oysters are great. They're high in
uh,
zinc. Anything with zinc, man. Grass-fed meat, all the organ meat I mentioned, they're high in zinc. Zinc, if you get on a supplement, will increase testosterone also. But
mm,
organ meat is probably one of the best foods to increase
okay.
testosterone. Organ meat. I eat a lot of
Uh,
liver.
right. So let me ask you this about, we mentioned cholesterol. Now we're mentioning meats. Now, some doctors would say that too much meat will increase, your cholesterol level. When you see your cholesterol level elevated, does that concern? Or if you do, because you exercise a lot, I'm not sure if you
I
do or
do.
not.
I
But would
do.
that concern you?
No, no, no. I went to the doctor. I get blood exams all the time.
Mm,
I check you check my levels. Okay. He says your cholesterol is a little high. Okay, good. It's supposed to be high because you have no cholesterol, you can't increase testosterone. You can't produce
uh-huh.
testosterone.
Yeah,
Cholesterol, see, testosterone feeds off cholesterol. So
yeah,
you,
gotcha.
so
Okay.
I gave you some good cholesterol, not the bad cholesterol. Now you want bad
Yeah,
cholesterol, for example, go eat Kentucky Fried Chicken. You want bad
gotcha.
cholesterol? Go ahead, go eat it.
Yeah,
Now you got bad cholesterol.
yeah. Boy, this is amazing. I was thinking about the title for this show, and my first thought was Advancing Men's Health. And now I'm thinking the testosterone challenge. I don't know what I'm going to decide, but this is good stuff.
Yeah,
Is there
yeah.
anything else you care to share, Chris, before we say goodbye today?
Um, just stay off the sugar,
Yeah,
If you want to do prevention, like I said, there's do's and your don'ts. The don'ts are stay off sugar, cakes,
yeah.
sugar in your coffee. And the reason why I'm saying is because when you eat sugar, your insulin goes up. When your insulin goes up, estrogen follows. So between both of them, estrogen and insulin, they both prevent production of testosterone.
Hmm. Well, this is really great, Chris, on many levels. Well,
Thank you.
I enjoyed talking with you today. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Chris.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. You're a great host.
Oh, thank you for that. Well, you have been listening to the Possibility Action Network podcast. Our guest today has been Christopher Terzakos, the author of Testosterone After 60. I'm your host, Stephen Middleton. Until next time, good day.
You are not alone. Just keep on, keep on going. Just press on, press on.